All right, today we're diving into a big one, Ayn Rand's novel, The Fountainhead. Now, this is not just a story about architecture. It's really this fierce philosophical battleground about what it means to create, to have integrity, and where one person fits in the world. And believe it or not, it all kicks off with one very defiant question. That line right there from our protagonist, Howard Roark, it just cuts right to the heart of the entire story. It's the ultimate challenge, one man's vision against the crushing weight of the establishment. And really, this one question is what drives everything that happens in the book.
Okay, so let's meet our main guy, Howard Roark. He's this brilliant, uncompromising architect. But you'd think his story would start with some big award or achievement, right? Nope, it starts with him getting expelled.
Yeah, you heard that right. He gets kicked out for insubordination. And what was his big crime? He refused to just copy the past. His professors wanted a Renaissance villa, but he designed something totally new, something that came from its own unique purpose. For Roark, form has to follow function, and that was a radical idea the school just could not handle.
And this quote, wow, it just lays out his entire worldview. For Roark, you don't just assemble a building from a catalog of old parts. No, a building is a living thing. It has a soul, and it has to be true to one single powerful idea. And that's the key, right? This isn't just about architecture. It's a metaphor for how he thinks a person should live, with total integrity to their own vision. Now, to really get Roark, you have to understand what Ayn Rand was trying to do. She wasn't just writing a story. She was trying to create her vision of the ideal man. And Howard Roark is that vision. He's the creator who lives for his work, lives by his own rules, and exists as an end in himself.
Okay, so for every innovator, there's always a follower, right? Let's meet Roark's polar opposite, Peter Keating. While Roark is an outcast, Keating is, on the surface, the absolute picture of success. He's a man who lives not for his work, but for what other people think of him.
I mean, just look at this list. It's the complete flip side of Roark's experience. At the exact moment Roark is getting expelled, Keating is graduating with every possible honor. He's the star student, Mr. Popular, and he's got the two best opportunities an architect could ever dream of. He has completely mastered the system that just spat Roark out.
This slide just sums it all up perfectly. For Roark, the motivation is all internal. The work is the goal. He needs clients so that he can build. But then you look at Keating, and his drive is totally external. It's all about comparison and appearances. He just can't stand the thought of someone else being better than him. It's creation versus applause.
So right out of the gate, both of these guys face a huge decision. And this very first choice they make really sets the stage for their entire lives. It tells us everything we need to know about who they are at their core.
So Keating is up first, and he's got what you'd call a high-class problem. A famous scholarship to study in Paris, or a dream job at the hottest firm in New York. I mean, it seems like a win-win, right? But it's how he makes this choice that tells the real story.
So look at his thought process here. It has absolutely nothing to do with what he wants to build or the kind of work he wants to do. It's all about perception. What will people say? Which one has more prestige? And here's the kicker. A big factor is that he can't let his rival get the job if he turns it down. It's all about status.
And so, predictably, Keating goes for the instant glory. He takes the job with the famous guy Francon, cementing his position as the top guy, the one to beat. He makes sure the world knows he's a winner. And Roark? His choice couldn't be more different. It's almost like it's from another universe. He goes out of his way to find Henry Cameron, a guy who was once a great architect, but is now seen as a total failure, a drunk working in a beat-up office. And why? Because Roark still sees the genius in Cameron's work. He chooses authentic talent over social status, every single time.
You see, these two paths, they're not just about jobs. They represent the two huge opposing forces at the very heart of this novel. This is the big conflict, the lone creator versus the collective, the society of second-handers.
This whole conflict is rooted in a core idea of Rand's philosophy, something she called man-worship. Now, the idea is to take that sense of awe and reverence that people usually direct towards a god or the supernatural, and instead aim it at human potential. To have a deep, profound respect for what a person can achieve with their own mind.
It's interesting, actually. Rand originally wanted to start her manuscript with this quote from Nietzsche. Now, she and Nietzsche disagreed on a lot, but she felt this one line perfectly captured the feeling of a character like Roark. This idea that all greatness has to start with a fundamental, unshakable respect for yourself and your own judgment.
And that brings us right back to the book itself. By throwing these two worlds, Howard Roark's and Peter Keating's, into collision, The Fountainhead poses this timeless challenge. It forces every reader to ask themselves, where does greatness actually come from?
So what is it? Is human progress really driven by committee, by tradition, by what everyone else says is right? Or does it explode from the vision of a single, uncompromising, and often persecuted individual ego? That's the question at the very core of The Fountainhead.